Okay, I'm going to assemble a face jug. Bob, you might want to come over here. This way you can actually see it.
All right. Tony, do you mind being on YouTube?
I went in and I thought when I first started doing this, I thought,
She
what's the
didn't
big
even hear
idea?
you.
After I learned about
Okay, so what I'm doing first is I'm kind of scrubbing in the areas that I'm going to be working in. I'm going to put 2 eyes here, a nose there, and a mouth there with the tongue sticking out. So I kind of scrub the areas, kind of do it in quadrants.
I don't think I have one. I'm sure I've seen one over here though, because I've used it. And there's a small one there, that would be better.
I'm doing this really fast because Bobby told me I only had a couple minutes to try and do it. So that's the reason why I pre-assembled all the stuff. Crap. Re-round the eye, re-scrub it, attach.
You already found something? It's good to have a job in hand.
I gotta put my eyeballs on.
Yes. I'm fortunate that way. I would say that I planned it, but I ended up just in the field that there's always something.
Yeah.
Worst case scenario, they move something.
Right.
Yeah, I would think that the same would apply for you. I mean,
I just realized if that's on there, we don't have a licensing thing for it.
It's
I want to get sued.
Hospital pharmacists
Nah.
had, experience for a long time. Jobs are getting a little tighter
You're not
now.
selling this,
They opened a couple of pharmacy schools in
are you?
Texas.
Huh?
There's only 3.
You're not
I think
selling
there
this,
were
are you?
3
No.
pharmacies.
Yeah, right.
Sure. But they started churning them out, and every little grocery store that opens has to have probably 2. Maybe they've got a pharmacy in it, so that's kind of good, I guess. But I've never done any of the retail stuff. I haven't filled a prescription in 6 months. We do some charity. Well, it's all clinical stuff. The physicians now use us for a lot of kinetic dosing and stuff, and of course at night we have to prepare all the very unstable things that are only good for an hour or 2. And I've got techs that do that. I don't want to do that either. But,
so you're telling me everything you don't do.
well, if you came into the hospital with pneumonia, they would start depending on your allergies, a pretty standard regimen of, based on where you got it. If you came from a nursing home, they would treat you differently than if you came from just a community-acquired pneumonia. But the physicians don't want to worry about dosing your antibiotic. They want us to do it because we have to evaluate your renal function, and there's a few tests that they routinely run, and you basically just punch out an equation and come up with a decent renal function estimation, and then you dose them based on that, and draw levels after a day or 2, and try to keep them. Some of those things are pretty dangerous. You go deaf or lose your kidneys if you are dosed improperly, or if it's allowed to accumulate.
So I've got a friend of mine who healthy, does these bike rides and all this, I mean, really, really good shape. 35 or so. Went on some rafting
How many minutes
trip,
am I on, Bobby? About
some,
4?
You're
You already
at
at?
5 minutes and 20 seconds.
Already? Man, I'm hauling ass too.
Time flies when you're having fun.
Yeah.
bacterial thing. And they put him on this really strong antibiotic, not the standard stuff. And so they're getting massive, massive headaches, joint pain like none other. So they
Okay.
started doing
Did
some
you use this?
research on it. and that
I didn't, I
was
just used
kind of
this.
a side effect.
Because, I started with it.
Uh-huh, yeah.
Pulling on,
It's whatever you get comfy with.
no, it was pulling on the
No,
cloth.
so you go in there,
And I didn't want to
I
put
guess
a
some
hole in it.
percentage of people are gonna get these bad effects, right? So,
And I tried to,
how do you
see how I
You
did this
make
side,
that-
did I round it off?
that assessment that this is worth the risk, something or
So
Well,
now I
depending
have
what
to
you
swirl,
have.
make mine,
There's several ways to get most things. There's only two things that you don't have a lot of choices. So
No,
you try not to be
it doesn't
overly
really have to be,
aggressive
because you can
in that you're
decorate
using
this
three antibiotics to do
afterwards.
the same
Get your
thing.
thing, let this harden
But
up,
you
and you can put it,
you have to
you know,
determine whether or not it's working
a
pretty
design-
quickly.
a
And most of the time
design
on
around it,
antibiotics,
which is
we
what
use
I
antibiotics
do.
for a lot now.
to hide my mistakes.
There's so many different
what do you
things you
mean,
can
the designs are
tell
attach something to the
from
handle?
spinal
Well,
fluid,
you know, like
cells in the spinal
Uh-huh.
You can
fluid,
just-
or whether it's cloudy or whether it's all kinds of stuff.
Put it
And
on there,
a lot of times you can tell whether or not something's working relatively fast.
and put
Yeah,
it,
the white
you could
blood cell
braid
count will change
something and
pretty
put it
quickly.
around the whole thing.
If you're getting the infection or if it's getting worse, well, it's getting worse, but, I mean, there's more than one way to get it almost anything though. And some guys like one thing, some guys like another thing, you know.
guys being.
The physicians, yeah, you know, I mean,
I'm putting these ears on here in a crooked and funky way because I want them, just so you know, I want them to be just a little bit off, just like a crazy person.
a lot of the stuff we do at night too is to do with coagulation and stuff. We get a lot of people who are scared. Like for example, if you walk out there now and you get bit by a snake, within 12 hours your coags are going to be screwed up, and you have to deal with that pretty quickly. And there's a protocol that we use, you know, it's kind of a routine order set type thing, and you follow it like a nomogram. This happens, use this happens,
Now,
and you have to redose them.
On the
depending on their
handle, you
response,
probably
you know.
want to go
It's
thinner.
basically pretty simple. You take the injection site and you measure out from it where it starts to swell, and you mark it periodically. And then when it stops swelling,
Oh, yes.
you know that you're achieving the desired effect. Your antivenom is working. But, and that's a real crude assessment, but it's accurate.
You know, what you would do is make a coil a
There you
little
go.
bit longer than this.
But
Because
there's
as
so
you
many,
braid it, it gets shorter and shorter,
you
right?
know, so many things that are involved in just getting.
Then I come back with a sponge after it dries up for about a day. It's lightly covered, and come back and smooth all of this, so you won't see any of this right here. I just come back and smooth it all, so it's perfectly smooth, and fire, and then I put a clear glaze over it. This way you don't cover up the differentiation of the eyes and any of the seams that you want to have.
Kind of like human.
Bye.